There are several different ways to try and strengthen your hip flexors. Some people will have an ankle weight. You could try and slide your foot between the handle of a kettlebell or a dumbbell. All these require quite a bit of balance. The weight shift can be quite frustrating. So what I find is if I take a band, this is the type without the handle, put it around a post, and I lay down. Change our angle. Then put my one foot inside the band, lay down, and flex the hip. And switching feet. I find these to be very underutilized muscles, so doing a few repetitions, even using a very light band, is going to have some benefit. These muscles often get very shortened with our activity of sitting for long hours, but also very weak. They're important for balance, lifting, going upstairs, and many other activities of daily living. I was going to demonstrate some various activities for backwards running or walking. In many of our sport activities that you might be engaged in, such as pickleball, or tennis, soccer, flag football, many other activities require bursts of running backwards for at least a short distance. If you're not training these muscles and activity, you can be prone to injury. Backwards running works specifically on the quadriceps, the lower legs and feet, improving the neuromuscular connection, and can be kind of fun if you don't trip or something. So you have to be careful. Make sure that if you're running backwards on a surface, that you know where the obstacles might be and that you protect yourself. This doesn't mean that I'm stopping my powerlifting, but moving to essentially doing heavy lifts for each exercise once a week, and then working more on stabilization and generalized fitness for the other part of that. I'm going to combine my heavy activity, like squats on one day, followed by a good hard generalized workout, deadlifts next day, bench following day, and then rest on the heavy lifts, but continue with my fitness activities. So starting off, one of my favorite activities is to take this wooden pole, working on warming up my shoulders, just some lifts overhead, nice and slow, and basically a dynamic stretch. Warming up the rotator cuff, you can grab one end and push it out. Again, some resistance on both sides. And switch sides. I'm going to put the pole behind my head and neck. Again, just warming up my shoulders, trying to get this down, and I can do some side-to-side twists. As my shoulders are loosening, bring my hands in, trying to get my elbows pointed straight down. It's nice with the wood, it doesn't hurt my spine bones. Because then I can roll it down a little bit farther, trying to get it down to where it's resting on my trap muscles and scapula. can hinge forward at your hips and warm up your spine, doing rotations. Bringing the hands in closer. And then going into some squats, trying to keep the bar moving essentially vertically. Increasing the range of motion in the hips. You can always pause at the bottom. And for our Silver Sneakers workouts, you want to monitor your exertion level. In boom muscle, it can be fairly high exertion. Perceived exertion levels of 6, 7, 8, sometimes 9. Or monitor your breathing, where it's too easy, too hard, you're out of breath, or just it's somewhat faster, but you can still talk. That would be our zone 2. Make sure you have a towel and a source of water. So I'm going to move on to a strengthening exercises for my hip flexors, using a band and laying down. Welcome to this edition of Silver Sneakers Boom Muscle. If you've been following my videos, you know I've been working on powerlifting techniques for about the last 4 months or so. So it's time to change things up a bit, work on fitness in a different way. Again, it's a good idea to change your cycles periodically. If you find that your exercise routine is getting too easy, it means you're not growing, that you've just adapted. So every few weeks, couple months or so, it's good to change things up. So I'm going to add higher repetitions, lighter weights on some of my activities, some more action intervals and cardio for the next couple of months. I think the safest way to start running backwards is to use a mechanical treadmill like this, which doesn't have a motor. So you can grab the handles, climb up on it, turn around, and you push off. Again, you have nice strong support. It's only moving by your own energy. And when you stop moving your feet, the machine stops. Progression might be to go to an elliptical machine where you pedal backwards. You can walk or run backwards on a standard powered treadmill. The difficulty comes in to get the device working, you have to face forward and turn around. So to do this, you can start off at a low speed, and you can even practice turning around with the machine off. Seems simple enough, but I think it's always a good idea to have one hand on the handles as you turn around. And you can start it off. So it's going quite slow. And you want to practice turning around at this very slow pace. You can increase the incline, which is going to work the muscles more significantly and increase the speed. Well, it might seem a very slow pace walking forward, but when you turn around, you notice that it can be significantly challenging even at that slow pace. On a mechanical treadmill, you can always step off to the side. It's one way to get off. Turn around and turn the machine on. You can progress to short intervals in a safe space. You want to make sure you know where any obstacles are. It's quite cumbersome to run backwards, turning your head around, constantly looking for obstacles. So there is glasses you can wear that have a mirror, same way you would maybe for riding a bicycle. If you're going to go outside and do a prolonged running backwards, you might invest in one of those type glasses, sunglasses to wear. So for this, I'm going to do a short backwards run and know where my landmarks are so that I don't trip over things. Only about 4 or 5 steps. Then you can either go forward and go backwards again, or turn around at the other end. For most sport activities, I think the run backwards a few steps, run forwards a few steps is more applicable to most of our activities. You can even throw in a couple lateral steps. Final progression is to go to a backwards hop. So we'll start off with a backwards hop with both legs. Step forward. You want to make sure that you cushion the land, since this is essentially a plyometric activity, which can be harsh on the muscles, the joints, and the connective tissue. So a few repetitions, not too many. Another option is a one-legged backward hop. I like to put one leg behind me, then lift it up and do my hop. Making sure I got good flexibility, well warmed up. Again, with any sort of plyometric, no more than a couple times a week, only a few repetitions. You get the most benefit with minimizing the risk of injury. Again, an advanced exercise that you'll take at your own pace, and you can totally not do it. Again, I think doing the quick starting off, running backwards, is most applicable to most of our sports activities. For some strengthening of the quadriceps and lower body, is going to do some goblet squats, grabbing a dumbbell, holding it chest high, And I'm doing this on a box. You can do it with or without the box. Just squat down. Again, my knees are tracking over my toes. Feet turned out somewhere around 45 degrees. Tightening my core. Repetitions somewhere 5 to 12, ideal for strengthening. Give yourself a pause. Moving on to a one leg deadlift with the dumbbell weight. Have a support here to improve balance. I grab the weight, and I like to lift my back leg on the same side as the weight. Then switch sides. Good form, important for this exercise. So only do as many repetitions as you can do, as long as you can maintain good form. We can move on to a split squat. I have a dumbbell for weight. So one leg is behind, bend down into essentially a lunge position, trying to keep my front shin fairly vertical with my knee tracking over my foot. Grab the weight. Again, I like to have a support close by to improve balance, or to catch me if I lose my balance. On this one, you want to focus on your front leg quads. Power those coming up. Forgot which leg I did back the first time. I think it was right back. So left leg. One point of these isolation type exercises is to determine imbalances, figuring out if one side is weaker than the other, and it can help you identify which one you might want to concentrate on more, try and get them into balance, which improves posture, activities like walking upstairs, and overall health. One activity I forgot on my running backwards drills was a drag and pull. So I have a weight attached to a strap, going to lower that down, and then have a nice wide open space where I know how far I can go backwards without running into a wall or another obstacle. So I grab my strap in. It's a slow jog. I hope you enjoyed this short video on some of the exercises I do to try and improve my quad strength, my ability to run backwards and hold on to my phone video recorder. Hope to see you again next time, and have a great weekend.